In this video, I will discuss about the single most important factor in an SOP that makes your SOP truly stand out. When I was writing my SOP, I found out that the most important factor to consider when writing an SOP is the match factor, that is to convince the admission committee that you are the right match for the degree for which you are applying, given your previous training, given your future goal, and if you are applying for PhD, then given your research interest. If you can convince the admission committee that you are the right match, then it will be highly likely that your application will be considered and even you can get selected. And in this video, I will discuss about how to write an SOP focusing on the match factor. Hello all of you, I'm Raza, a doctoral researcher at the University of Southampton. This video is part of the admission framework series that I'm running on my channel to help you in making university application for September 2025 intake. So if you are considering to apply, you might consider subscribing to my channel as well. Let's get into SOP. The first thing that I want to discuss is the role of SOP in our application. When we make PhD application, for example, we submit three important documents. First is CV, and the role of CV, the purpose of CV is to tell admission committee about our previous experiences and qualifications, maybe research paper publication or working paper, conference presentations, things like that. And CV is more informational, that is giving information about our qualifications. The second document that we submit in our application is research proposal, and the main purpose of research proposal is to tell admission committee about our in-depth understanding of research issues and research methods. But both in our CV and research proposal, our story is missing. That's where SOP comes in. That's where a statement of purpose comes in, where we tell our story to the admission committee, that why we want to do PhD, how it is aligned with our long-term goals, short-term goals. Maybe, for example, if you're applying for masters, why we are interested in that particular masters, why we are applying in that particular university, why we are interested to work with that particular potential supervisor. All these things we are supposed to address in statement of purpose. So that is the role of a statement of purpose, that is to bridge the gap between CV and research proposal. The second important thing about SOP is that we should approach SOP as a conversation. We should write SOP like a conversation, in the sense that assume that you have got 5 to 7 minutes to tell admission committee that why you are a suitable candidate for the particular PhD or for the master's degree for which you are applying. So what all you will say to the admission committee if you will get this opportunity? Exactly the same things you should write in SOP. And hence SOP is a conversation where you tell admission committee why you think you are a suitable candidate. But one important thing is that we should write SOP not in an informal conversation tone, rather we should write SOP in academic conversation tone. I'm attaching a link with some of the prescriptions on how to write an SOP, and this link is from the University of Oxford. No matter which university in the UK you're applying, you can follow the University of Oxford prescriptions, because these are prescriptive things which will boost your chances of getting selected. The third thing that I want to discuss is to address why questions. That is, after reading your SOP, the admission committee should feel that you have addressed a few questions in your SOP. And don't be generic, rather write your own personal story, right? So the first thing that you should address is why you are interested in a PhD or master's program. For example, if you are interested in doing research that is linked with industry and that is what drives you, you can write that in your SOP. Or if you are interested to inform policymakers through your research, you can also write that. Another thing that can drive you is your passion to contribute to academic discourse. If this is what drives you to pursue a PhD, you can write that in your SOP. Another thing can be, if you are applying for masters, say for example you're applying for masters in data science, you can mention that why you are interested in that program. For example, you can mention that you're interested because you want to use data science to address a particular type of questions, maybe related to some industry question or some social science questions that you want to do. So that's up to you, right? The second why question question is that why you are interested in that particular research area. Because in research proposal, we mention all the details of our literature review and literature gap, research questions that we want to address, research methods, but we don't write that why we as a person are interested in those research questions. So you can mention that, and then you can also mention some of the things from your research proposal. For example, if the particular topic in which you are interested in is very important given the current society context, you can mention that in your SOP. So there can be different reasons why you are interested in that particular research area, right? Another important thing is that why you're interested in that particular potential supervisor, and in that you can write a few of the papers of your potential supervisor that is related to the area in which you are planning to do your PhD. This will give an impression that you are a very good match, and your potential supervisor will be able to speak in favor of you to the admission committee that I want to take this student because he works in my area and I think that he is competent given his qualification, and that will really enhance your chances of getting selected. Another important point is to write that why you are applying in that particular university. Why this question is important? Let us assume that you are applying for PhD in economics. Economics department of every university has got its own orientation. For example, economics department of my university, University of Southampton, maybe it is more specialized or known for micro theory or labor economics, for example. And if you are applying in micro theory, you can mention that I want to get trained at the University of Southampton because it is known, it is specialized in that area. I find that professors specialize in that area and I think that it will help me in my training, right? So these things you can mention. So to write that why you are applying in that particular university, you should go and check the web page of your department, that what area of the discipline your department specializes in. And then if your research interest is in line with that area, you can write it in your SOP that the department specializes in this and I want to do PhD in the topic similar to it, which helped me to decide that I want to do PhD from your university, right? So you can mention that. And then one more important point is that if you are applying in different universities, you should tailor your SOP accordingly. It should not be that you are using the same SOP for different universities. No, you should find out from the web page of the department that in what area they are specializing in, and accordingly you should write connecting it with the specific department, and that will actually enhance the chances of admission committee thinking that you are a suitable match. And another very important thing that I have learned from a professor from the University of Oxford is that if you can connect that why you are applying in a particular program with your overall life purpose, that what do you aspire to be, what do you want to do in your life, and how the purpose is connected to the program in which you are applying. If you can do that, then it will really make your application very strong. So these are the questions that you should address in your SOP. But again, I will say that don't write in a generic way. Rather, give your unique perspective that why you as an individual is interested in that program to work with that potential supervisor and so on and so forth. So SOP should be in a flow where you start with the introduction, mention why you are interested in that program, mention why you are interested in that research area, why you are interested in working with that potential supervisor, why you are applying in that particular university, and then what makes you a suitable candidate given your previous experiences and qualifications and skills that you have. Last thing that I want to discuss is that can we use ChatGPT or generative AI in writing our SOP? So this is a very burning question, right? To answer this question, I will suggest that first and the foremost, you should look at the web page of your university on the guidelines of using ChatGPT or generative AI. As far as I know, most of the universities don't allow you to copy a draft from ChatGPT. Rather, they allow you to take a little bit help here and there if you can. So I'm also linking a web page from the University of Oxford on the use of generative AI to write an SOP. But the most important point that I want to convey in here is that even if your university allows you to use ChatGPT or generative AI, you should not use it in writing the draft. Why I feel so is that ChatGPT will not be able to give the exact story that is your personal story, that is your life journey that you can write by yourself. I don't think ChatGPT or any generative AI at present is developed enough to enter your brain and find out that how you have evolved over time and then relate it with why you are applying and why you are interested in that particular program in that particular university. I don't think ChatGPT or any software is that much developed. So you should write your own story, and that unique story will be the most important aspect in your application. So these were my advices. I hope it will help you. If you have any question, you can put it in the comment section. I will try to reply, or I may make another video addressing your query. That is also a possibility. See you in the next video. Thanks a lot.